Hi there. I just wanted to come on and tell you about my experiences of a Husqvarna 236 chainsaw. I'm not a chainsaw expert. And there are plenty of good videos about chainsaws. They're mainly Americans and Canadians put some fantastic videos on for technical detail. I'm not doing that. I just thought if you were thinking of buying a chainsaw for general garden use, very light use, then perhaps my experiences can help you to make a decent choice. It is basically a nicely designed chainsaw, but I've got to say that I feel a little bit let down by the build quality, so I'm going to sort of talk you through some of the issues I've had with it, and you can see what you think. What happened with this chainsaw is that it's about 3 or 4 years old. It's not really had much use at all, and last time out I'm afraid it suffered a bit of a failure. So I'm going to take the cover off and show you what went wrong. There's no chain on it obviously at the moment. That's just to make it easier to get the cover on and off without needing gloves. So cover comes off. Underneath that you've got your chain bar that the chain runs round, and here's what happened. Underneath here we've got a spike which just allows you a little bit of leverage or purchase against what you're sawing. And you can see that it's completely loose. That should be screwed on with 2 screws, and at the moment it's half screwed on for one just to keep it in position. The other screw, I don't know where that went, because I nearly lost the whole thing. Because what happened is, unbeknown to me, it came loose during operation, and the upper tooth, got caught in the chain, which tore the spike from its mountings. So the 2 threads have now gone, which is going to make it very difficult to repair it, to put it back, and it's worse than that, as I shall explain in a minute. But first of all, when I wrote to Husqvarna to tell them this had happened, because I thought it only fair, it was a bit of a safety issue, this thing got caught in the chain and then got flung forward. You can see it's quite a weapon. It's a bit like a Klingon Death Star. You can imagine that spinning and travelling at the speed of a chain forward, where it embedded itself in the shed. And took a bit of getting out, to be honest with you. Luckily it didn't embed itself in anybody that I know, or me, but there we are, we got away with that one. So I was a little bit shocked, so what I did, I simply put the chainsaw down on a table, a bit like this table around the other side of the house. I sort of put it down and I went and had a cup of tea. And I'm not going to show you the damage that caused, because there's a pool of oil and we'd have to tread in it. So what happened is that the oil over the next hour or so leaked out, because, and we'll put a still picture to get a bit better of a close-up. In the top hole is okay, that just tore the thread out, but because behind the top hole there's just blanked off plastic. But in the bottom hole it both tore the thread out, and you might not be able to see it on the video, but we'll put a still picture in. It produced a little crack running from the middle of the hole outwards. Now unfortunately behind that hole is the oil tank, and what we'll do is we'll put a still frame of me holding that up to the light, so that you can see that there is now a crack in the oil tank that the oil leaks out through, which makes the whole thing pretty hopeless. Okay, so what happened was that over the course of the next hour all the oil leaked out. It ran down the table. Unfortunately it ran onto the wall and onto the patio underneath, so I'm not sure yet how I'm going to clean that off. But I did write a slightly sarcastic, slightly humorous email to Husqvarna. The main reason is because of the safety thing. I really wanted to know whether anybody else had had the safety issue of the spike coming off, getting caught in the chain and possibly causing damage, or worse still, injury. And to be honest, it could even cause death as far as I'm concerned, but luckily for me it didn't. I'm not out of the wood yet though, because the wife's not terribly pleased about the oil patch on the wall and on the patio, so death may yet come, but only to me. You don't have to worry about that. So if this happens to you, put your chainsaw down well away from the building and let the oil run out. So I wrote off to Husqvarna, and I thought, just to spice it up a bit, I thought I'd be a little bit cheeky and say, well, you know, is there any way of repairing this, and various other questions. And I got a reply back which said, oh, yeah, it's well out of warranty and we don't really care very much. I don't think they used those words, but that's the tone I got from the reply. In fact, if there's space, I'll post the reply underneath the video, just so that you can make your own informed choice about whether you want to buy a Husqvarna. It's up to you, of course. Okay, so the questions I wanted to know is how I could repair the case, how I could clean the damage, and I did have one other question which I'll come to at the end. I also asked them whether anyone else had suffered a failure like this and whether there was a safety issue. Now, they didn't answer the question about the safety issue, which really was the main reason. I got no response whatsoever, other than to point out it's well out of warranty. But to my mind, being out of warranty is not an excuse for having a design that isn't safe. Now, I'm not saying the design isn't safe. It could have been a one-off failure, but it did fail, and it wasn't my fault. So anyway, although I was very serious about wanting to know if there is an issue with this model of chainsaw, and a Husqvarna didn't tell me that, they didn't quite get the fact that I was perhaps being a little bit sarcastic when I asked them how to clean the oil off the brickwork, and perhaps a little bit sarcastic about how to repair the chainsaw, because clearly it's going to need a brand new body for that, and there is one on eBay. It's 40 quid. Why would they think I'd spend £40 on buying a second-hand body and replacing all the bits over, and even then you've got the guarantee, no guarantee it would work, and the same thing would probably happen again. So they didn't really get the sarcasm or the humour, which is a shame. And they didn't seem to get the sarcasm or the humour when I asked them where to find the nearest Stihl dealer. Although, oddly enough, they did make a suggestion for that. I won't tell you what it was. I've got a better one. So, to summarise, I don't know what's happening these days. Do Husqvarna really think that I'll ever buy another Husqvarna after the experience I've had with this one? I mean, come on, get real. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the local dealer who sells Husqvarna and Stihls, and I'm going to buy a new chainsaw. I'm not going to waste any more money on this one. I'm going to buy a new one. But of the two choices I mentioned, I just certainly will not be buying another Husqvarna ever. You make your own mind up. That's what I think. If I do manage to repair this one, I'll let you know. Okay, thanks.